Hagerty is the world's largest provider of specialty insurance for enthusiast vehicles and supports keeping car culture alive through youth programs, the Historic Vehicle Association, the RPM Foundation, and more. Hagerty is home to key programs such as the Hagerty Drivers Club, Hagerty Drive Share, Hagerty Valuation Tools, the Hagerty Drivers Club magazine, and much, much more. For more information, visit their website at hagerty.com. PCA Sim Racing is proud to have Hagerty Motorsports as its 2021 title sponsor.
Welcome back to Silverstone. We are getting ready to watch the Sport Class presented by Pirelli here for the Porsche Club of America Sim Racing Series. Series 7 getting ready to kick off for these drivers. And on the top of it, it is Aaron Nations. He's already got the Porsche pace car in the pits, and the green flag is out. Not the greatest to start for Nations as Doherty comes up around the outside. He might have the lead as they come up to Copse. How brave is he going to be? It'll be a tough ask, but it might be worth it, and nothing doing there behind them. It looks like everybody going to file through safely.
Absolutely incredible to see that all there through Joe 3, almost 4 wide. I was seeing as they make their way now down into Maggots and Beckett's. The front about 7, nice and easily straightforward. There's a little bit of wide action going on there in the back, but everyone able to get through cleanly thus far.
Oh, we got a little bit of an incident farther down. If you see a few cars involved, Trey Davis, looks like Dean Chapman. We'll try and check that out in a little bit as we continue to see the leaders coming up into Stowe for the first time in anger. That's Doherty now dropping back to about a second behind, and Del Toro chasing.
Del Toro looking very, very feisty on the binders going into Stowe there. I thought he may have had a little bit of a move. This is a little bit of a train starting to form in the back, though, as we ride on board with the 02 car back in 7th place. This is Donald Binkley trying to chase down Daniel Florian and Jason Brodigan ahead of him.
Watching from the roof there briefly, now jumping back as they break hard into the Abbey chicane. Things staying quite tight in this group. I'm seeing someone else drop down the order. I think Asensio, unfortunately, also running into trouble very early. So certainly not the start many drivers were hoping for.
No, a lot of incidents and accidents is going on here, and I'm just not able to get as much grip as they want. We have moved on a little bit in the day from the previous race that we were out here. Track temperature currently holding at 81 degrees Fahrenheit. So definitely easier to get these tires up to temperature. But you can see there is Aaron Nations already with about a 9/10 of a second advantage. Still a little bit of slicing and dicing in the back, but nothing decided quite yet.
Yeah, our closest battle here amongst the front group is a lot of dirt being kicked up on the exit of Copse there by a number of them. Is back here in P7. Nice little fight as Binkley chases Florian, Rogers, and Brodigan.
Yeah, Donald Binkley trying to close in. You can see that very, very close battle. Rogers and Brodigan really getting close. This may be a move onto the hangers straight as Henry Rogers in that 36 tries to make a move a little bit of weaving this way, and there's a late move on the brakes for Henry Rogers, but Brodigan sees it coming, able to hold it, but maybe gets it there. They're going to be side by side as they make their way towards Vale.
Tight stuff, and down into the heavy braking of that left-right chicane. It looks like Jason is going to be able to hold ahead, sends it in deep. But now here comes back Henry Rogers and gets underneath him. More side-by-side racing, but Rogers is going to be on the outside. This will be difficult to try and complete, but he's brave on the binders and is fully through by the apex.
That was some really great driving there from Henry Rogers. You saw him taking some very, very aggressive maneuvers down to the inside. I've got to give massive credit there. And all of that scrapping has left Jason Brodigan now in a little bit of trouble. That's Daniel Florian in that red machine starting to close in on his rear wing.
My goodness, they are just nose to tail in this group. Oh, look to the inside as Donald Binkley might have Daniel Florian, and he does. The 02 moves himself up into 6 with a smooth move through the hairpin.
And that was really just precipitated by a bad run through there for Brodigan, or for Binkley. Now we watch here. Whoa, everybody trying to hold this out the best that they can. This is getting very, very spicy, Joe.
Arnie Clayson was awful brave trying to go into Copse. Thought he was going to make contact with the 11 for a moment as we rode on board with him. Now snaking their way along in the Maggots-Beckett sequence. Instead, it is now Arnie who's under attack. Mark O'Harris gets a great exit.
And Joe, unless I'm greatly mistaken, I think Arnie Clausen has a little bit of damage to the rear of that 242 Porsche. Looks like somebody got a little friendly with his rear fender, so he may be suffering a little bit of straight line speed. Yeah, there you can see the crack on that rear fender.
Okay, as he hopefully won't get another one because of how close he's been racing with Harris. They weave their way around and out of club, still separated by almost nothing. The one that's really gained in this group is that Falcon liveried Porsche of Henry Rogers up at the front. He's distanced himself by about a second and a half. We had so much happening at the start, really didn't get to cover all of what went down there. Rachel, have you had a chance to really kind of figure out who all was involved in those opening incidents?
Still trying to work through some of that because we had a very busy start to this race, so we're going to try and get some of that information on here as soon as I have something available.
All right, we'll check in with Rachel later as Ben Loom here in 11th, also having some fun. Just the next group back, they're starting to split into little powwows here amongst these drivers. Trains of Porsches just kind of lining up along this track that provides plenty of long straights to slipstream.
Indeed, they are, Joe, but Aaron Nations, one of the few drivers that is not part of a train. He has pulled out about a 1.8-second gap over Thomas Doherty, really running in a league of his own here. And Taylor, what can you tell us about the driver of the 15?
Well, the amazing thing about Aaron Nations is this is his second season competing in the PCA. He started his rookie's career last series in Series 6, and he's based out of the Maverick region, which is based in Texas. And, of course, he has been a long-time sim racer, nothing too serious, but has been sim racing for about 7 years. And then one of the activities that he enjoys doing with the PCA is, of course, the High Performance Driver Education Academy that he uses, which actually is utilized in the PCA Sim Racing Series when it comes to their EDE, as well as the High Performance Driving Experience.
Bit of chatter going on between Jason Brodegan and Donald Binkley there. Didn't quite catch what was said. As a look to the inside, I think that's Daniel Florian. Can he make this one stick? Yes, he can. In fact, 2 positions down. There goes Arnie. The 242 manages to get up to 7th, then 3 positions in just a couple corners. Marco Harris to most Jason Brodegan as well.
Yes, he does, Joe. Brodegan not having the best start to this race, really, but he's got plenty of time to try to make it back up here. This is a real hornet's nest in the middle of the field.
Ride from the roof of the P8 driver, who's just gained at least 1 spot, not even under attack from behind. Brodegan seems to have some sort of issue with the cars. He's already dropped a massive 9/10 of a second. In the meantime, I think Arnie Clayson is going to have to look in his mirrors as well. They see him in that silver car. Oh, and side by side, this is for the 17th spot, Sentel and Morgan.
Yeah, a little bit of a battle starting to shape up there as we look out the back of Sentinel's Porsche right now. That 003 machine doing the best that they can. They close up in the Maggots and Beckett's complex.
Sounds like we've got a new report from Rachel. Let's go down to pit lane.
Yeah, one of the most notable incidents we had at the start of this race was an incident involving Moaz Mardini. He had contact towards the what we'd call the end of the lap in Club and Vale, which was a contact from the braking zone with the 242 machine, and it was a pretty significant natural impact there, which has led to him getting a black flag for a orange zone violation there. Other ones were marked as racing incidents.
I'm glad that there's at least a few penalties that came out of that, even if it did cause some consternation, I'm sure, is side by side between Gregory Sampson and Ben Loom. This is for a spot inside the top 10, but Ben is going to deny him.
Been doing a good job to hold on there along the outside. Is that, I think, is that Brodigan having another issue off in front of them? The driver of the 14, just his day going from bad to worse here around Silverstone.
Sometimes racing just gives you those days, unfortunately, and Jason's got one in spades today. Here comes Mark O'Harris. Looks like O'Hara's going to try and get that spot back. They got to watch out because they're going to be joined by that next group that we were talking about earlier on. We ride on the roof of the 9 machine.
Yeah, riding on the roof of Mark O'Harris's machine, trying to catch on to Brodigan. Brodigan looking a little bit tentative onto the binders there. Can't say I'm exactly surprised. And look at that. That's Villeneuve right on the rear of that 9 machine as well. So a bit of a three-way battle starting to develop here. Although it looks like Villeneuve had to check up a little bit coming out of Chapel. So he's not going to get quite the run he was hoping for.
Staying tight regardless. I think if Ben stays patient, there could be something in his future between these two. In fact, that was a poor exit off of Jason Brodigan. He knows it. He's going to defend to the inside of Vale. And that orange and silver machine just about overshoots it. Mark O'Harris doesn't have the grip to try and undercut him.
Doesn't have it quite yet, but something tells me, Joe, that this battle isn't quite over yet. Harris ducking in behind. I thought he may have had a little bit of a peek out there going into that left-right as they work their way now down the hill under bridge. Let's see if Marco Harris is able to do anything here driving into Priory. If not, may have a little bit of room coming through Woodcote.
Oh, and Ben is now right on top of them. Peter Yurza could get involved as well. Taylor, it sounds like you've got some information on Mark.
Well, Marco Harris has been part of the PCA Sim Racing Series since Season 4, so he is a well-known veteran of the PCA. He enjoys competing in this class, as of course he is from the Connecticut River Valley region. And one of his favorite moments when it comes to racing in the PCA Sim Racing Series was back in Season 5 at Sebring International. It was a highlight where he was making his runs through the field and made an astounding pass coming through turn number 1. One of the things that he loves about the PCA is learning patience, as well as making sure that he has found that proper groove and not one of those ones that we see here where racing at Silverstone, where we've seen a couple of cars going out of the groove throughout the race. So that is one of the things that Marco Harris is looking forward to and learning so much with the PCA.
This has been one of our best fights, and it's gone through a couple of positions. They were fighting higher up, and then it comes back down. In fact, this is where they were before, around the likes of Donald Binkley, who is still chasing Henry Rogers. Only 0.3 of a second separating these two, and in their mirrors, they can see the bright red 11 of Daniel Florian, just kind of hovering around, waiting for a seat to open at the table.
Exactly, and Joe, we may be seeing a little bit of potential fuel saving out of Daniel Florian. He may be just a little bit lighter on that right foot, taking advantage of the draft, trying to use that around here. I do think, though, that Donald Binkley really in attack mode. You see a good little bit of a dive there into the left-hander of Brooklands. Now into left field. He's getting closer and closer. Is he going to try to go for a little bit of a move here? They almost come together, almost touching front to rear as they exit left field. Good little bit of a draw. You can see that is ahead. Binkley moving this way and that, trying to find something.
Let's stick with this battle on screen, but Rachel's got more information down in pit lane.
Yeah, I certainly do. We just had 2 self-spins, although one was connected to the other one. The 28 machine lost it just coming out of hangar, and unfortunately he was on the track. He rolled backwards slightly. The Pfeiffer had to go wide, ended up catching some grass, and he turned himself around. Both drivers were okay, but those Porsches were a little bit worse for wear.
Unfortunate. Always got to be careful about those re-entries, especially on tracks like this with such high speeds. Binkley looking around the outside as Henry Rogers goes slightly defensive, coming up to Stowe. Florian has been chipping away. It's now down to 0.5 of a second, and ever closing on the battle. That was a big gain there in the braking for Vale.
Yeah, it looks like Binkley is very, very strong on the binders, doing some great work there to try to catch up the best that he can. But you can see where that's costing him, Joe. He's good going into the corners, but that speed that he carries in, it means he's got to slow the car down more and get it to rotate a little bit more. And it's allowing for Henry Rogers to get a better jump off of the line and extend a little bit when they leave the twisty bits.
Interesting thing going on with the lead here. Aaron Nations was up to 3+ seconds, and that dipped down to about 2.5 to Thomas Doherty behind. So I'm not sure what caused that. I do know that Rachel's been kind of hovering around that number 15 pits. What have you got, Rachel?
Absolutely. Well, Aaron, of course, leading the race right now. He has been sim racing for over 7 years. He's a big Boxster fan, which is something we learned. And he not only is a big fan of Max Verstappen, so doing very great right now in Formula One, but I think I discovered why he's leading this race. He's a huge fan of the Fast and the Furious, which I think means he has 25 gears in his Porsche.
Well, it certainly is bright as a Fast and the Furious movie there. That leading Porsche brings back memories of the 90s for me, frankly, as Daniel Florian gives us this onboard view of Donald Binkley in 5th place and Henry Rogers in 4th ahead of him. The Wilderness Trail Region driver still hasn't been able to get close enough to attack, keeping himself in tow at the very least.
Exactly. He's not close enough to attack, Joe, but remember, he was about a full second off a couple of laps ago, so clearly that bright red Porsche definitely does have some speed in it. We're going to jump back here, though. This is Gregory Sampson all the way back in 26th place.
Yeah, we can't forget about the battles throughout the rest of the fields. Some more brightly colored cars in and amongst this. Oh, and one of them off course, Dean Chapman. I think that was a lap down car. Not sure what happened there. Is getting it very close to the rear bumper of Carl Bocelli. It looks like Motaz Mardini is going to suffer down the straightaway with that nose damage, and Gregory Sampson has an easy pick into 25th.
Yes, he does. An easy pick indeed. And as Gregory looks continually more and more aggressive here, Taylor, what can you tell us about that number 91 driver?
Well, of course, Gregory Sampson has been a long-time PCA competitor. Has been competing for 2 years in the PCA from the Maverick region, so another Texan, one of the biggest states that we have with the PCA, where a lot of major competitors have competed. In fact, 2 championships come from the Texas region. But of course, the biggest accomplishment has to go to, for Gregory Sampson, was the 2021 Team Racing Series at Le Mans, where he picked up the class win. And what made that one so special was a benefit race for Operation Motorsports as well. So it was a big winning moment for him. And of course, none other than from Radio Le Mans, John Heindel was on the show for that broadcast, and it was a big accomplishment for him, and he looks forward to the next time they do it. Of course, one of his favorite drivers, if we're talking about racecraft drivers, we're going to go two-wheel racing. Valentino Rossi was his favorite racing driver of all time.
Ooh, we didn't see it on screen as we got a battle here, but Daniel Florian got past Donald Binkley. Boy, a lot of weaving. Things are getting feisty in this group, DJ.
Yeah, they really are. A lot of these drivers defending onto their positions tooth and nail. Jumping up to the battle for P11 right now. This is Antonio de Silva as he's trying to close in on the back of Peter Yerza. Now, you may notice that's Marco Harris right ahead of them. Marco is falling back down through the order.
Yeah, some of the drivers just can't seem to keep up the pace in today's race. Can't always win them all, of course, and watching them work their way into Priory. This is some of our battles towards the farther back in the pack, of course.
And I think some of the problem that these drivers are running into, Joe, is that they're overheating the tires a little bit. Now, we talked about how the tires in these GT3 machines, they are made to be a little bit more durable. You don't necessarily need to make a tire change over the course of this 45-minute race. But but you got to be careful not to overheat them. If you overheat them, you're going to lose a lot of grip off of the surface, and especially in some of the slower, more mechanical grip heavy or mechanical grip dependent sections of the track, that's really going to cost you time. And so they've got to be careful to not overheat them. And if that is what happened to Marco Harris here, what he needs to do is spend a couple of laps backing off a little bit, not going too heavy on the attack, and then let the tires cool, and then go for broke again.
Hopping on board with Marco Harris, Mr. Excitement today in that number 9 machine. Has dropped back from Ben in the 290 just a little bit, so maybe he'll get a break from all the fun out there. Braking hard, you can see how much rubber is being laid down on this track with a slightly larger field than what we saw last round. About 10 more cars than what we experienced on this circuit, so a lot more of a drastic change as so many more vehicles are pounding away at the pavement.
Exactly, and what that means is twofold for these drivers, Joe. Number one, the racing line's going to get more rubbered in. It's going to get grippier, and you're going to be able to go around a little bit faster as the more and more cars go over it. The other problem, though, that will arise, there goes Marco Harris, the driver we were talking about a few minutes ago. The other problem that will arise is the marbles that get kicked up offline. So if you start to try to make a move, mainly through an area like Luffield right here, it's like you're going to be sliding on glass going through the marbles. So you've got to be very, very careful as you try to make a move in the later stages of the race.
Are we finally seeing things settle down because of that? We're looking at Adam Holland now in the 25th position. He's being chased by Trey Davis back in the 217, but that's Gregory Sampson just in front in the blue and white. All three of them hitting that first apex nicely. A little bit off there for Adam Holland, and I thought Trey Davis would have a better run, but looks like he can't take advantage.
No, just not able to get it working the way he'd want to. But Trey Davis here trying to do everything that he can. He's still very close up behind that very, very bright machine.
Off to the side, I think we caught a glance at the 44 of Vicencio. Seemed to have a spin of some sort and is now taking a tow into pit lane. Once again, back to the front, and it is Brodigan in the thick of it. Artie Clayson, they're just in front. He's in a pack of 4 here, Ben Moon, and we were watching Marco Harris, rather, just a moment ago, way wide there using that paved runoff at the exit, but Arnie is allowed to do that. That is considered part of the racing surface.
Yeah, it is indeed. You will not pick up an off-track by going around there. As Marco Harris there trying to cling on to the back of Ben Leong. He's going to be very happy to see Arnie Clausen and Jason Brodigan right up ahead like that. That means that those drivers are going to be slowed down in a little bit of a battle. Long looking maybe to the inside there, going into Brooklands. That's really going to slow him up. Marco Harris smells some blood in the water. This could get spicy.
That classic Brumos livery on the 290. Oh, what a big mistake off the corner. Jason in the 14 slips up in the grass, and he watches 2 positions just fly on by.
Oh, but he's getting a little bit aggressive there with Marco Harris as Harris is able to go by. I thought for a second there that Jason Brodigan was going to maybe have a little bit of a hip check on him, but now we're going to jump back up here. This is Florian and Rogers. Again, that battle for P4. We've seen Daniel Florian be able to dispose of Donald Binkley and start to close into the back of that blue Porsche.
And believe it or not, the top 4 are exactly where they started this race. So Florian is wanting to disrupt that. He's the first one that is not where he began. Daniel gritting up in the 6th place, now currently sitting in the 5th, and certainly looking like he's got a good shot at things, but just hasn't quite opened up yet. Got to watch out that Donald Binkley doesn't try and re-attack and take that spot right back. I see a number of cars that have come in and out of pit lane. I'm not sure if any of these are drivers who have taken scheduled stops, though.
Yeah, it looks like we're seeing a lot of drivers that came in early due to damage or penalties. But I think the latest one is Stephen Jacoby down in 24th right now as he falls down the order. That, I think, is a scheduled pit stop. Going to jump back to that battle for P7. This is Ben Leong right here. keeping an eye on this. Arne Klaassen doing a good job of keeping that 290 behind him, with Marco Harris and James Brodigan still involved in this. That's a little bit of a late look for Ben Leong. He's showing his nose.
Almost had a Schumacher Hill situation there coming into Priory. Thankfully did not come to blows. Oh, but here we go again. And Ben's got the inside over Clayson. Clayson accelerates well, as behind them, watching that madness, Mark Harris says, I'm just heading into the pits and getting out of the battle. It looks like the 242 didn't have the momentum he quite wanted, and Ben is now up into 7th.
Yeah, it's a gutsy move there from Ben Leong, but ooh, looks like a little bit more of a momentum for Klaassen around the outside, but they're going to run into Stephen Jacoby there, almost coming to blows there. Leong later on the brakes. That was Jacoby doing a good job to get out of the way of everything. Very, very impressed with the left foot of Ben Leong to get that car slowed down going into Maggots.
Arnie wants it. He just doesn't quite have the chutzpah to get it done, it seems. See if he tries to come back harder next time by. And we're now starting to see at least a couple front runners pit now that we've had Marco Harris come in. Where is he going to be once everything shakes out? Because he's back on the circuit. Our leader is not stopped quite yet, which of course takes us to our halfway point of tonight's race here in the sport class. And it's brought to you, of course, by Pirelli. Pirelli was founded in Milan in 1872 and is a global brand known for its cutting-edge technology, high-end production, excellence, and passion for innovation that draws heavily on its Italian roots. Pirelli is among the world's major producers of tires and is an OEM supplier to Porsche. Find more about Pirelli at Pirelli.com. Rachel?
Yes, certainly are. Okay, let's take a look at number 1. This is Aaron Nations. He started out the race pretty well today, actually. He began in... Sorry, technical moment for me there, as he actually started on pole, and he is currently running in pole. Had a fantastic race so far, gap of 3.1 seconds. P2, Thomas Doherty, Central Indiana region driver from zone number 4. That 59 car also started second, currently running second. Federico Del Toro from the Longhorn region of Texas, the 27 car, caps off the top 3 who all started where they're currently running. This has been pretty static at the front of this sport race. And that same thing goes for Henry Rogers in 4th place as well. The Peach State region driver there in that number 36 machine, doing exactly what the guys above him did. Daniel Florian, the Wilderness Trail region driver from zone number 3. The 11 car is the first to break our cycle. He's moved up 1 spot currently from 6th on the grid. P6 is Arne Klaassen. Arne started in 9th place, so he's up 3 so far. Having a great race. The Southern California driver from the San Diego region of zone number 8 is putting on some work. P7 is Antonio De Silva from the Metropolitan New York region, zone number 1, one of our biggest zones actually and most populous in the PCA. De Silva started 14th and he is up to 7th, so moved up half his spots. Number 8 is Peter Yerkser from the Down East region of zone number 1. Peter started 13th, also moving up pretty heavily as well into 8th. Driving on the edge, it's Richard Edge, Peach State region driver number 18. He is making some massive moves. P9 from 25th. Biggest move for the race. Number 10 is Keith Morgan, the Central Indiana region driver of the number 700 car. He is currently up from... Wow, he's not even showing up on my timing and scoring. That's going to be difficult for us, but he's up. 11 is Jean-Francois Saint-Amour, the Los Angeles region driver of zone number 8, another California guy in this one. He is currently up from 31st, actually, so he might be also as big a mover as we saw with Edge. P14, Jeff Williams. He is currently rolling in as... This is confusing me. Sorry, I'm having some technical stuff on my gridding here, but the Rocky Mountain region driver from zone number 9 to 517 heading into pit road right now for his services point of the race. P18, Robert Walton. He is currently moved up from 26th place, as he's now showing a 9th behind grid sequence. This is why I was getting thrown off for a second. Cars gridding is changing everything around on the multiple screens we're looking at here, but the Maverick region driver from Texas is putting on some work. New P10 is Garrett Taylor. That is the Kansas City region driver from zone number 10. Before this, he was running in about 15th. Taylor?
If we look a little further on to P11, we see Donald Binkley from the Musicstadt region. Of course, for those who are wondering, the Musicstadt would be the music state up in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee to be exact, as he has worked his way up through the field. P12 position is Canada West's very own Volker Krebs in car 53. A stellar performance for the driver from Canada as he started in 20th, gained a little over about 8 spots, so a great drive for him right now. In P13, Marco Harris, we talked about him earlier, the Connecticut Valley region's driver, putting on a strong performance here in the halfway point of today's race. And as we move a little further back to 14th position, is Henry Rogers from the Peach State region, which, if you think about it, for those who have been a fan of the PCA, this is how the PCA Sim Racing Series started, was from the Peach State region drivers who competed in a series of their own, and here we are seeing a bunch of them competing in the PCA. 15th position goes to Ben Luong from the Upper Canada region, one of the largest regions that is competing in the PCA, with over 29 drivers competing from that region, so a strong performance from the Canadians in the series. As we go through some more timing and scoring, P14 should go to, as we're waiting for cars to file through. Pit stops are underway, so that's why we see a lot of drivers. We'll go a little further back to P13, Keith Morgan from the Central Indiana region, who's having a strong drive in car 700 as he works his way up out of Cops Corner. P14, Bob Moore from the Northeast region, a strong performance for him right now as he started in 24th position, so a great run for him. 10 spots gained. Moving on back to P15, as we wait, Robert Walton from the Maverick region in that Martini livery paint scheme. Great to see some heritage Porsche paint schemes out on the track. Jeff Williams from the Rocky Mountain region. Talked about him earlier on. He's on a bit of a run right now in the 16th spot after starting in 22nd. P17 goes next up to Volker Krebs. We talked about him earlier on, the Canada West region driver in the Powerboat Gummy Bears machine. I gotta say, it's good to point that out. It's kind of fun to see these drivers have fun with the paint schemes. P18, Antonio Da Silva. P19 is Trey Davis from the First Settlers region in that chromed out Porsche. Beautiful to see that car, and great to see that they take some interesting care with their paint. And rounding out your top 20 from the Chicago region, Lonray Surumi.
21st night is Will Mungia from the Peach State region of zone number 3. The 907 car of Will's is currently 1 lap down, up from 27th to where he is running now. Coming up next, we have Moaz Mardini in 22nd. Moaz is up from 25th, so he's at 3 spots so far, the Orange Coast region driver there from zone number 8. James Bernard is currently running 26th, which is up about 9 places from 35th where he started, so the Alaska region driver is having a warmer race in his state. 27th, Adam Holland, the Upper Canada region driver from zone number 1, is currently up from 37th, so that's going to be a just over 11 place change for him. 29th, Andrew Hillman, the Shansan region driver from zone number 10. The 28 car of Hillman is currently down from 23rd, so he's back 6 places. P30, Carl Boccieri, we're just cycling around here because pit stops are changing our order constantly. Carl Boccieri from the Metropolitan New York region of zone number 1, that 8T car, up from 38th currently to 30th, so 8 spots gained, respectable.
In 31st position should be car number 30, Stephen Bukowski. 32nd will be Tom Crane, who's right there in car 864 from the motocross region. Of course, down in New Orleans, Louisiana. And as he comes across the front, heading into Cops Corner, having a quiet night for him as he's trying to see if he can gain some more spots. 33rd goes to Central Indiana's region's very own James Legault in car number 5. A little bit of a quiet night for him, but hopefully can try to overcome it as he hasn't gained any spots. David Santel from the Hardy-Dixie region is in 34th, going to complete his pit stop in the 003. Dean Chapman from the Northern New Jersey region in 35th. As we go to the rest of the field, Ronald Simone is 36th. Val Asinos is 37th. Stuart Nelson is 38th. They are all out of tonight's race.
Well, who is not out of tonight's race is Aaron Nations as he continues to lead here now that pit stops have cycled on through. You see him working his way through some lapped traffic right now. All of our leaders have come and gone through the pits. James Doherty and Federico Del Toro still holding on to those podium positions, but the battle for P4 continues to get good as this is Donald Binkley trying to chase in on Daniel Florian.
Donald Binkley, DJ, has been a long-spanning competitor in the PCA, has always had some decent top 10, top 15 runs, but in this region here, in this class, he has been able to showcase his talent with a strong top 5 finish, loving the battle that he's putting up with another competitor who is a long-time staple in PCA, Daniel Florian, who has some strong runs throughout its time competing in the PCA. And as they work their way through the track here, it's going to get more intense under 10 minutes to go.
Certainly, and Donald Binkley has not been without action. He and Daniel Florian can't seem to separate this entire race long. And he certainly wants to try and get that red car back as you see him come around out of Woodcote and onto the pit straight. It's down to 9 minutes left. Can't do it with the pit stops. If he wants to try and overtake him, he's going to have to do it on track.
He is indeed, and it just seems like any time that he starts to pull into the back of Daniel Florian, that red number 11 starts to pull away a little bit. He's now pulling out the gap to about 8 seconds. Here's another battle with another driver that we've focused a lot on today. That's Ben Leong back in the 290. He's in 8th place right now.
Still being chased by the 242. It's been pretty much a regular cast of characters in this race that keep getting into action. Apologies to the rest of the field that we haven't really been able to show them more, but so much of the fun has been happening basically from first down to 15th in today's race. Nothing doing there into Stowe Corner amongst this group as Henry Rogers will easily keep that 7th place into that long, fast right-hander. But now they slow the cars up into Vale once more, and Leon looks like he wants to try and get closer, but maybe he's just out of stuff at this point.
He may be, as we jump back to Binkley there, a little bit of overcorrection going through the Abbey chicane before getting onto the farm straight. You see him having to kind of get the wheel reset going into there. Still, he's able to keep close to Binkley here at this point, trying to pull in the best that he can. Once again, we always talk about it. Here's the crucial section. If he's able to get this right, he may be able to run going down into Cops, certainly closer under braking. That's Donald Binkley having a little bit of a wider line. Oh, I think he's going to try to have a run, but Daniel Florian able to get a little bit more speed on corner exit.
Just keeps himself at arm's length away from Donald, so the 0-2 can't do it quite yet. Looking back at the 9, we were watching this battle earlier, but that doesn't look to have gotten much hotter, so I think we've got some time. Taylor, last trivia question was definitely weighted towards the, well, I don't want to call them old fogies, but the more experienced fans, shall we say. What have you got this time?
Well, we just saw Arnie Clayson heading into Cops Corner, and when we think of Silverstone, we think of all the amazing names, and some of us wonder, how did those names come to be? And we're going to target Cops Corner. And we want to know from the viewers watching today, how did the Cops Corner name come to be here at Silverstone? So we'll give everyone to the end of the race and the end of the broadcast.
I'm raising my hand very frantically.
Joe, you cannot answer. And for those who are in the chat or in our personal little chat do not answer, we know.
Never ask questions about the corners. You know I'm going to know the answer.
Oh, I know, but that just makes it so fun.
Yes, exactly. As we continue to watch Binkley and Florian continue their race. Now only 6.5 minutes left. This has all been happening behind Nations, who's got it up to about 13 seconds over the nearest car of Doherty. So it's a battle for best of the rest, including amongst these drivers. Leon there trying to get himself within range of Rogers, and actually much closer than we last looked.
Yeah, they caught a little bit of lap traffic in the form of Dean Chapman on that last lap, and that slowed down Rogers. Rogers has a bit of a wide entry there going into Priory. That's going to give Ben Leong a little bit of an opportunity to try to go for something. You see him getting in close behind that blue and teal Porsche in front of him. Leong now is going to take a little bit more of a narrow line through Luffield. That may compromise him a little bit on corner exit, but it looks like he's able to get it relatively okay. Maybe a slight little bit of wheel spin. There's a little bit of a pull away for Henry Rogers. I do see Gregory Sampson, though, just up the road. I think both drivers are going to pray that they don't have any problems going through Maggots and Beckett's.
I've seen a few issues out there with some of the blue flags. Some drivers, unfortunately, making some clumsy moves, trying to navigate one another around the circuit today. And here's the sun just about hits the top. It's actually slightly past 1 p.m. virtual standard time. It's probably about the hottest that we're going to see this track surface. So slipping and sliding around, you got to tiptoe at times.
Yeah, you really do, Joe, especially as this race goes along. We talked a lot about aggressive driving styles can overheat the tires. They've got to be very careful about that. And this may be a little bit of a moment where some of the more heads-up drivers are going to pull back a little bit, maybe let the car breathe, get some clean air, not go as aggressively, and then fully attack later on.
Sirens blaring. Someone said the secret word, and Taylor, who got it much quicker than the last one.
It was certainly, that was probably the quickest one we've seen, but it goes to Austin B, who's out there in the check. He got it right. The Cops Corner in the old layout was based off of the rolling woodlands that are just off of the Silverstone circuit, so a great tribute for that, and so many more. You can learn more about those corner names. It's pretty interesting, but congratulations once again to Austin for getting the correct answer.
So down into Brooklands, another one named for a track from the area, as Rogers is actually closing in on Sampson, if I'm seeing right. No, Sampson, excuse me, is a lapped car, so that's not for position. And will this offer a pick? Ooh, very close for Ben at this stage. This is the closest he's been in a minute, but nope, he's not going to get that pick. There goes Sampson, politely letting them through. I don't think he can quite do the same for Arnie. The 2-4-2. No, he will. Actually, it's going to be caught at just the right time. Look at him just pull off to the side.
Yeah, some good respectful driving there from Gregory Sampson. We've got to keep our eyes focused here on Ben Leong. I lost out a little bit of time before they get to Beckett's ahead of them. That's Garrett Taylor you see rejoining the track. Looks like coming out of Chapel wasn't able to get it done, but we're side by side for P4.
Binkley and Daniel Florian get it settled out in favor of Donald Binkley this time. So he managed to get that spot right back. And now the bright red number 11 is going to have to try and make a quick move. They're only going to get about maybe 2 more laps around here.
Yeah, drivers putting in about a 149 right now, 150, so not a whole lot of time left. There is your leader, Aaron Nations, as he makes his way through Luffield right now. I think he's going to come to the line with about 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go. So by my estimation, that should be about 2 laps left.
You know, it just occurred to me that Florian kind of reminds me of our conversation last night where I mentioned a certain type of car running in British Racing Green. And Florian's bright red Porsche just feels strange.
Yeah, it feels a little weird. It's not exactly what you would expect to see, but I gotta say, you know, red is fast.
It's a racing car color, yeah.
Exactly. Florian making it look fast around here, so it may look a little unseemly, but it looks fast and it is fast.
Yeah, it's been a great day for Florian, but he wants to do one better. And unfortunately, it looks like his pace has left him because Binkley's got it up to 2 seconds ahead of him now. So that battle has really died out in these final moments.
Yeah, it certainly has, and it's going to be upsetting for Daniel Florian, but at the same time, he does have about a Marco Harris is within a second of him, so that's not done yet. This is a battle for P2, Joe. Federico Del Toro coming out of nowhere. He is starting to put some pressure onto Thomas Doherty in front of him.
Say no more, though. Jean-Francois pulls off to the side, so that one wasn't for position, but yeah, 1.3 seconds up to Thomas Doherty. He's dealing with traffic of his own, which unfortunately compromises his exit out of club. Richard Edge trying to keep out of his way. And thankfully is going to be able to give him a little bit of an easier time, but it's a self-made mistake from Thomas Doherty, who sends him wide, and it's now down to 0.9 of a second.
It's getting closer and closer and closer. Our leader here, though, coming out of the final corners right now, so he'll be taking the white flag. Doherty knows he's only got a few. Wow.
Boy, taking his chances now, and thankfully Richard was heads up on that one. Just let him by. Sometimes you got to make those moves, though, when you don't want to be put under threat. Oh, and a really bad exit from the 27. I don't know if he spun his wheels or what, but he was almost fully past the 18, and then Richard Edge just started to pull away from Federico Del Toro, so that might be this battle done.
Yeah, maybe done and dusted. He's able to get by here, Del Toro is, but I don't think he's going to be really close enough to close in. Jumping back, though, this is the battle with Daniel Florian. Remember, we said Marco Harris was starting to close in. That's that silver Porsche that we ride on board with right now. The Connecticut Valley region driver doing a great job to hassle that red Porsche.
Remember, Mark had a few issues earlier on and is trying to basically come back and see what he can fight for. Managing to crack into the top 5 as we take a look at our leader, Aaron Nation. It's been more like a 7-nation army out there as he's just dominated, and as he brings it down to the latter half of the lap, all he has to do is cruise to the line.
Yeah, 12 seconds here by my timing and scoring margin. Aaron Nation's doing a great job out there. Comes out of the Abbey chicane for the last time under bridge. He can almost put this thing on autopilot going through Priory, Brooklands, and Luffield.
2 more corners to go, or at least 2 real braking zones, and then accelerating away. I said it reminded me of the 90s. Well, maybe we could say it's a little bit of Schumacher domination here for Aaron Nations as he wins here for the sport class and the Porsche Club of America at Silverstone.
A commanding drive there for him. It looks like Doherty and Del Toro are going to come in second and third. We ride on board with Marco Harris trying to close in on Daniel Florian the best that he can. Somebody diving off into the pits there. I'm not sure who that is, but Marco O'Harris not able to quite do it. That's going to be Binkley in 4th, Florian 5th, and O'Harris in 6th.
Boom, very close to Kenny Rogers across the line, 0.3 between them as they get the checkered flag. I see the 700 here trying to hold off Robert Walton, but I think Walton took that a little too hot into Brooklands.
Yeah, I think he did too. That opportunity is going to fall away from him there pretty quickly. They're going to come across the line in the order that they went into that corner as, so no real changes there.
Taz Mardini is going to be our last across the line. In fact, I don't think he's going to go across the line because I think he's out of fuel. Yeah, he's coasting. Well, that is just an appropriate cap to the day, sadly, for the 23 after he just had a bad start, trundled around, and then shuddered it to a halt at the end. This is going to be the last one officially across the line on the lead lap. Lanre Sarumi in the number 26, getting a 19th, pretty much exactly halfway through the field. That's not too shabby, getting half of the cars to finish on the lead lap as the competition gets fiercer up in the higher classes in the PCA. So I believe that's going to take us to our results for today. So let's go through the finishing order. Aaron Nations taking the win, finishing exactly where he started. Thomas Doherty doing the same from second place, but 11 seconds behind. Federico Del Toro thought maybe he could do something to Doherty late in the race, but he's also going to have to settle for third, exactly where he gridded up. Really not much in the way of movement on the podium. Rest of the field starts to get jumbled, though. Donald Binkley with fourth from seventh, and Daniel Florian fifth from sixth. Mark O'Harris got up to sixth, 4-position gain from where he gridded up, as Henry Rogers goes backwards into seventh. Ben Leung into eighth, as Arnie Clayson was ninth, and Jason Brodigan in 10th.
In 11th, it was Peter Yerza, followed by Keith Morgan, who was your highest riser of the race, 17 positions up. Behind him, Robert Walton, also a big mover there, up 13 spots. Jeff Williams behind them in 14th, followed by Volker Krebs, with Antonio De Silva and Trey Davis in 16th and 17th. Bob Moore and Larne Salumi are the last drivers on the lead lap, with Moaz Mardini finishing in 20th, 1 lap down.
21st was Jean-Francois Saint-Amour. Then it's Garrett Taylor in 22nd, James Bernard in 23rd position. You've got Adam Holland 24th and Andrew Hillman in 25th. These are all lap down cars. Jacoby, Pete 26, Richard Edge in 27th. Then it's Gregory Sampson 28th. The last one lap down was Will Mungia, as Carl Buccieri was 30th.
In 31st, it was Tom Crane, followed by Stephen Bukowski, with David Sentinel in 33rd. Dean Chapman was 4 laps down. James Legault was 9 laps down. And Ronald Simeon, Val Asinio, and Stuart Nelson unable to finish today's race.
I believe we've got our second place finisher ready to talk to us. It's Tom Doherty, who had to withstand some immense pressure last time out. Tom, you had Federico Del Toro getting closer and closer until that white flag. Were you nervous at all?
I don't know if I was nervous, but I was watching that. I was maintaining a gap, and I think either he made errors or I made errors, but I was able to, I wasn't nervous, but I was really looking forward to bringing it home. And probably the most thing I'm proud of more is the 0 X's. No X's this race.
Congratulations. That is absolutely something to be proud of. Considering you finished in second, that's a testament to both speed, consistency, and cleanliness. But the challenge class had a morning race. You guys were smack dab in the middle of the day. Were you feeling the heat out on the track? Did it get slippery at all?
You know, in practice and in qualifying, the fastest laps were like the first couple, and then it kind of went away. And my last lap was 149. I'll tell you what I was sweating about is that I cut the fuel really, really close, and I should have come in a lap before, and I wasn't sure if I was going to make it, and I probably gave up. When I came out of the pits, I think Federico was way under a second behind me, where I had a 4-second gap the previous lap. But you know, my wife wouldn't be surprised that I almost ran out of gas, but you know, I did make it to the fill up.
That's what counts, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, unofficial crew chiefs notwithstanding, is there anybody you want to give a thank you to that helped make this P2 happen?
Well, yeah, I do want to thank Mimi Doherty for tolerating my obsession. But you know, we made a deal, and she knows that Wednesday races, I'm on the East time zone. So, you know, 9 to 11, that's the deal. So yeah, I like to thank Mimi Doherty.
It's a great sentiment. Oh, go ahead.
And SimLab and Fanatec and Husenfeld. This has been a great exciting thing to be part of the PCA and the community and learning from each other. And I'm really surprised that I qualified second. Federico was faster than me almost the whole practice time and qualifying in some of the test races. And Aaron has always been quicker. So for a little while, I thought I could hang with him, but he pulled away.
That's understandable. And so at least you managed that P2. That was our second place finisher, Thomas Doherty, here today for the first round of Series 7. I believe we've got our winner ready to talk to DJ. It was the dominant Aaron Nations.
Yeah, Aaron, it was a quiet race out there for you, but quiet in the best possible way. Flag to flag domination.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Pretty surprising to be in that position, but it's kind of ran my own race.
Did you have any moment at all out there where you got worried, or was it pretty much just going, wow, okay, I got this. Let's just keep it calm and steady?
Right in the middle of the race, my concentration dipped. I had to kind of fight back to kind of focus again, but yeah, just keeping nerves under check and making sure I stayed on the track.
Well, we head from this one to a little bit of a different track next time out. I believe we're headed to Barber. How do you think that's going to go?
I couldn't even guess right now. I'd have to hop on the track and see how I do.
Well, I know with your livery, it'll be pretty easy to spot you out there, Aaron, and hopefully we'll see you at the front of the field again. But anybody you'd like to thank for this victory here tonight?
First, I got to thank my wife for supporting me through all this and letting me do it. You know, my race team helped me prepare for this. Matrix friends, Jason and Robert, who also got me into this and helped me prepare for this. So, yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Aaron. That was Aaron Nations, your winner out here today. And Joe, I believe you've caught up with Federico Del Toro, our third place finisher.
Indeed. And we were talking to the man he was chasing a little bit earlier. Didn't sound like he was too fazed by it. But Federico, you were getting mighty close until that last lap, and then you seemed to drop off. What exactly happened there?
I think we were having a good battle. He was faster than me, so he kind of left me, and then towards the end when we went for the pit stop, I caught up to him. Then he left me a little bit. Then he found some back traffic, and I caught up to him. And then the back traffic was kind of hard to pass, so he took off again.
Still, I mean, you can't complain too much about snagging a top 3 in the very first round of the season. Do you feel like this will set the tone? Can you keep that momentum going in the following rounds?
Hopefully. I'll take anything. I mean, I just started racing, and this is my first event, so I'm happy to be third.
That means that I think you're one to watch out for this season. If this is your very first one, is there anybody that you feel helped make this P3 help happen?
I mean, everything. It's just a good set of people. I mean, they have a lot of practices during the week. I did a lot of the racing. It's basically my first big race.
Well, I'd say you've got more big races to come in the future if you're going to perform like that with so little experience. Again, congratulations on the P3, and we're looking forward to seeing you in Alabama.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the PCA for doing this. Thank you.
Okay, so that, I think, might be it for our interviews here today. DJ, this was a fun first one for Series 7. We've come back to this 40-minute setup for the races, and it's put on a show.
It most certainly has, Joe, and I got to tell you that when we come back to this, I'm going to have to hydrate up again, because just sitting up here in the booth, absolutely exhausting. These guys putting on a great show, both classes. This is exactly what I expect when I come to see these Porsches out racing on track.
Indeed, and we will see them in a week's time, although we do have more racing in 2 days. As Friday, we will see the club and the pro classes start to take to the track, so definitely tune in for that. But once again, a big thank you to all of our sponsors. Of course, Hagerty, once again. Hagerty, let's drive together. Don't forget to check them out there online, as well as, of course, Z1 Dashboard, which can be found at z1dashboard.com. And then, of course, there is Pirelli, which is at pirelli.com. as we come back at Barber Motorsports Park on October 6th. Don't forget that we had a whole team help us make this one happen. So a big thank you goes to Doug Atkinson, Jim Hemmig, and the steering committee at PCA Sim Racing. Also, a huge thanks to our team tonight, DJ, Taylor, Rachel, Ryan, and Dougie, as well as Eric behind the scenes. And none of this is possible without those behind the scenes at Podium Esports, James Pike, Gary Sexton, Cisco Scaramuza, and John Theodore. Thank you so much for watching tonight's broadcast of PCA Sim Racing presented by Hagerty. I'm Joe Peak, and I'll see you on the track.
Hagerty is the world's largest provider of specialty insurance for enthusiast vehicles and supports keeping car culture alive through youth programs, the Historic Vehicle Association, the RPM Foundation, and more. Hagerty is home to key programs such as the Hagerty Drivers Club, Hagerty Drive Share, Hagerty Valuation Tools, the Hagerty Drivers Club magazine, and much, much more. For more information, visit their website at hagerty.com. PCA Sim Racing is proud to have Hagerty Motorsports as its 2021 title sponsor.